Let's talk about strategy. Strategy in governance is extremely important. One level, trustees are fiduciaries, and they are simply making sure that the overall mission and vision and charge of the institution is being met, and it's being met ethically and legally. All the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed. But the next step is strategy. And strategy is one of those ideas that is very much in the wheelhouse of trustees. However, leadership has changed. And increasingly, from what I've seen, is that leaders are increasingly charged with finding and identifying strategy, hopefully collaborating with the board to develop that strategy, and then implementing it. And so the board once was sort of in charge of this idea of that was their area of responsibility of verifying the strategy of the institution. Now it's much more, there is that aspect of it, but it's also switching more and more to evaluating the president as to their abilities to think strategically. And I would suggest that trustees start doing this as part of every communication with their president, not waiting till once a year for an official evaluation, but start looking at the way that they think your president thinks strategically all the time. And the only way to do that is to examine and analyze the way your president communicates. You obviously don't know what's going on in anyone else's head, but you can hear what the words that they are using and how they are phrasing and communicating ideas of strategy and how much time they're talking about that. This is really important for you to develop a perspective on what your president is really doing well and exactly where their strengths are as far as being a strategic communicator are and their weaknesses. Obviously, to applaud them for their strengths and to work with them to build the skill set they need if they have weaknesses. But you can only do that if you have things to look for. So I want to give you a whole set of ideas to look up for to evaluate whether your president is a strategic communicator or not, or how well they are doing. Board meeting often has lots of time, and you have very little to do except for listen and try to keep yourself from being distracted. And that's often easier if you have a purpose for your listening or a guide for your listening when you're involved in a meeting. So first of all, we're looking for, I want you to be listening when the president is speaking in a meeting or in a casual conversation. It's much easier in a meeting to have a little piece of paper that you can make notes on and check off whether they're doing these things and how they're doing. But this is a very important task for you to give your president. Every president wants to do better. Every president has the intention of being thinking strategically and communicating that strategy. And so if you can provide advice in this area, that not only helps your institution be led better, but it helps your president in particular because they can focus on things that they may not be aware that they're doing. Elevate your perspective. This is something that we're looking for presidents to do. Instead of always focusing on specifics, describe the broader landscape and articulate the bigger picture. So be listening for that. In fact, maybe I'll have a list of these criteria on meaningfulgovernance.org that you can download, but have this list in front of you. And the number one thing is are they talking broadly? Are they seeing the big picture and communicating that big picture? And if they are, make a note of what they're doing, what they're saying to share that, what they're, why you noticed it, and why that was valuable. Again, this gives you something to do while you're in a meeting or in a conversation with your president. So number one, see if they're elevating the perspective. See if they're being forward-looking. Are they talking about emerging challenges and opportunities? And if you hear them do so, write that down. Give that context. Are they talking about how they're anticipating impacts? Are they showcasing their critical thinking by highlighting possible outcomes and unintended consequences? If they're doing that, we're hoping that they're doing that, but we need to reinforce that they're doing so or notice that they're not. Are they part of that analysis part of it? Are they connecting dots? Are they developing a system and communicating about that system, about how things hang together? If you're talking about a tuition increase, what are the effects of that tuition increase? What does that do to your enrollment? What does that do to your different, your new students, your continuing students, all those kinds of things? Are they connecting those dots for you? Analogies and metaphors. Are they using analogies and metaphors? Are they trying to move abstract ideas to something concrete? Are they trying to explore an issue by using that critical thinking of saying, this is like something else? This is what it means to do that. Are they able to relate that communication? Are they stimulating strategic dialogue? Are they thinking collectively with prompts and discussions to lead people to a discussion? Are they showing that you're informed? Are they using data and evidence, and are they citing sources of information when they're communicating? It's not just them thinking about strategic ideas, but they're thinking about the larger strategic context. And are they listening? Are they listening when they have thrown out a strategic idea? Are they giving the surrounding community an opportunity to weigh in on that communication? Are they giving you personally an opportunity to weigh in through that communication? Are they giving your colleagues? Are they giving staff? And where's that expertise? Are they generating a conversation? Or are they being directive? Like, I have thought of the strategic implication and I am delivering it to you from on high. So they need to be, you want to see that them listen. So it's not just a generic listening skill. It is, are they listening in a strategic way? Are they throwing out, are they engaging in strategic communication, and is it not just a one-way street? And that's part of the larger criteria of seeking feedback. Are they seeking feedback? Do they really want to know what you have to say? Do they really want to know what the community have to say? Are they not trying to promote a position, but explore a position? So here's a set, and it's hard to keep track of them just by hearing me sort of talk about them. That's why I've created a worksheet that I put on meaningfulgovernance.org. But I would use this worksheet to try to check off when you're hearing these kinds of things. And if you're not hearing them, note that as well. And if you do this over time and share this information with your colleagues on the board, you'll start developing a framework of what your president is doing really well as far as strategic thinking inferred from their strategic communication, and what they may need to work on. And so you can say, hey, I really wish you would connect those dots, or I really wish you would give us the information foundation so that we can look out for ourselves. Where are you finding this information for the strategy that you're talking about? Your president should be in constant communication about strategy, a dynamic strategy, of always saying, where do we need to be going? What niche should we be fulfilling? What dangers should we be looking for? You should also be looking at your colleagues for the same kinds of things. As I said at the very beginning of this video, strategy is very much a governance issue, and the board is the ultimate holder of the strategy for the university. So are you personally and are your colleagues communicating in a strategic way? I'm not talking about the tactic that you're using to communicate. I'm talking about, are you talking about strategy, and in what ways are you talking about strategy to open up dialogue, to open up ideas, to open up conversation about what your institution's strategy should be. Likewise, let me extend this even further. If you're at a board meeting, it's not just you and the board talking. In fact, you'll probably be the ones who are mostly listening. It's not just your president who's talking. It is senior staff. It is invited guests. It is sometimes junior staff. What are they doing as far as their own strategic communication? It's a problem if your chief financial officer is not communicating strategically. It is a problem if your provost is not. If you see a junior staff member doing this extremely well, it is something to keep an eye on. It is information to convey to your president that they might be looking to that person for future leadership opportunities. Okay, we've talked about elevating perspective, anticipating impacts, looking forward, simplifying the complicated, using metaphors, listening, showing that you're informed and seeking feedback. We've talked about all these different techniques. Use them not just as things to do, but really use it as a checklist. Are they actually being done? Anyway, that's my 2 cents. Give it a try and let me know if you're having success with this, or if there's something that you would tweak with the way that you're evaluating your president and others as far as their strategic thinking.